A newborn was taken from its mother in the first hours of its life and given two replacements. One was made of bare wire, and it gave milk. The other gave no food at all. It was just a block of wood wrapped in soft cloth. Everyone watching already knew which one the baby would choose. It was the most basic law of life. You love what feeds you. They were wrong. The starving infant crossed the cage, climbed onto the one with nothing to offer but softness, and refused to let go. To understand why that was a shock, you have to understand what science believed about love in the 1950s. It believed more or less that love did not exist, not as anything real. The dominant theory said an infant bonds to its mother for one cold reason: she is the source of food. Cut away the sentiment, and a mother was a feeding station, and a baby's love was just hunger wearing a friendly mask. And this was not a quiet academic opinion. It came with instructions. The most influential parenting voice of the era told mothers, in print, to stop. Never hug your children. Never kiss them. Never let them sit in your lap. Shake their hand in the morning. Affection, the experts warned, was dangerous. It would make a child weak, clingy, unfit for a hard world. Across the country, hospitals and orphanages were run on exactly this logic: feed them, keep them clean, and otherwise do not touch them. Children were dying in those clean, well-fed institutions, and no one could say why. Into that certainty walked a man named Harlow at the University of Wisconsin, and he had a question nobody thought was worth asking. If love is only about food, then why does it feel like so much more? Harlow could not run this on human babies. So he turned to the closest mind he could legally take apart: the rhesus monkey, an infant whose needs, whose fears, whose desperate need to be held are almost unbearably like our own. He took newborn monkeys away from their mothers within hours of birth, and then he built them a choice. Two artificial mothers standing side by side in the cage. The first was a mother made of welded wire, hard, cold, skeletal. But mounted on her chest was a bottle. She was the only source of milk in the world. By every theory of the day, this was the real mother. This was the one love was supposed to grow toward. The second mother had no bottle. She offered nothing a body needs to survive. She was the same wire frame, but wrapped in foam and soft terry cloth, a face with two round eyes, something warm to hold. She fed no one. She just felt like comfort. The behaviorists had made their prediction clean and confident. The baby will bond with the wire mother. Follow the food. So Harlow put the infants in the cage, and he started counting the hours. The number that came back broke the theory in half. The infant monkeys spent up to 17, 18 hours a day clinging to the cloth mother, the one that gave them nothing. They went to the wire mother only when hunger forced them to. And here's the detail that should stay with you. Many of them would not even let go to eat. They would stretch across, keeping their feet anchored on the soft mother, lean over to the wire frame just far enough to reach the bottle, drink, and scramble straight back to the cloth. They would rather contort their whole bodies than spend 1 second held by the thing that fed them. The food did not buy their love. The softness did. A baby that had been told by the entire weight of science to bond with the feeding wire instead chose to be held by something that could not keep it alive. Harlow had a name for what they were reaching for. He called it contact comfort, the need to be held, to feel softness against the skin. And his data said it was not a luxury layered on top of survival. It was a drive as deep and as fundamental as hunger itself. Then Harlow asked a harder question. When the world turns frightening, which mother does a child actually run to? So he frightened them. He placed into the cage a strange mechanical creature, a toy that lurched forward, banging a drum, eyes flashing, a monster to a baby monkey. And he watched every time the terrified infant ran to the cloth mother. It threw itself against her, clung, buried its face in the soft fabric, and then, slowly, something remarkable happened. Calmed by the contact, the baby would turn around and look at the monster. It would even venture out a few inches at a time to investigate the thing it had just fled, always glancing back, always returning to touch. The soft mother was not just comfort. She was courage. With something to hold, the infant could face a frightening world. Then Harlow ran the test again, but this time the only mother in the cage was the wire one, the one with the food. And the frightened baby did not run to her. It would not cling to wire. Instead, it threw itself on the floor, screamed, rocked back and forth, sucked its thumb, clutched its own body, alone in a cage with the thing that fed it, and getting no comfort at all. The feeding station could keep it alive. It could not keep it whole. And there it was, proof, in a number of something every loved child already knows in their body and no scientist of that era would say out loud. Love is not payment for food. The thing an infant needs most, after the milk that keeps it breathing, is to be held. Touch is not spoiling. Touch is not weakness. Touch is a biological need, wired in as deep as hunger, and a creature deprived of it does not grow up strong and independent, it grows up broken. Harlow's work, alongside the attachment researchers of his time, helped rewrite how we treat the smallest and most helpless among us. Slowly, the orphanages changed, the hospitals changed. The cold advice, feed them and don't touch them, was buried, because a cage full of monkeys had proven, beyond argument, that a child held by warmth will outlive a child fed by wire. He had taken the most sentimental word in the language and forced science to admit it was real. But you cannot tell this story honestly and stop at the warm part. Because the same man who proved how much we need love also became the man who proved what its absence does, and he did it in a way that is genuinely hard to hear. To study what happens when contact is taken away completely, Harlow built a chamber. A small, smooth-walled steel pit with no exit, designed so that a young monkey placed at the bottom could not climb out. He left them in there in total isolation, no mother, no touch, no other living thing, for months, for some up to a year. He gave that device a name himself. He called it the Pit of Despair. The monkeys that came out of it were not the same animals that went in. They did not play. They did not socialize. They sat in corners, rocking, clutching themselves, staring at nothing, the exact same self-clutching posture as that frightened infant alone with the wire. Some mutilated their own bodies. And the females he later forced to become mothers had no idea how to be one. They ignored, crushed, and in some cases killed their own infants. He had manufactured, deliberately, the destruction of a mind. To show the world that love is essential, he created, in cold steel, the most complete absence of love he could engineer. So now we have to sit with the uncomfortable shape of this whole thing. Harlow handed us one of the most humane truths in all of psychology, that every child needs to be held, and the price of that truth was paid, in full, by hundreds of animals whose suffering he caused on purpose. His isolation experiments are now taught as much for their ethics as their findings. They helped ignite the animal rights movement and the rules that today govern what a laboratory is allowed to do to a living thing. We learned that love is real by doing something unforgivable to the creatures who showed us. And that is the thread that runs through this whole channel. The same uncomfortable thread as a baby taught to fear, as ordinary people made cruel by a uniform or an instruction. It does not take a monster to produce monstrous things. It takes a normal, brilliant, driven person, a clear question, and a willingness to look away from the cost. The science that told mothers not to hold their children was not evil. It was just confident and wrong. And the man who corrected it was not a hero. He was something far more familiar than that. We know now what those monkeys knew the moment they crossed the cage, that when you are small and afraid, food is not what you reach for. You reach for something to hold. You reach for warmth that has no use, no calories, no survival value at all, and somehow it is the only thing that makes the world bearable. A newborn was given a choice between the thing that fed it and the thing that simply felt like comfort. It was starving, and it chose the softness, and it would not let go. Ask yourself honestly in the dark when you are frightened, are you really so different?